What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're going to be having a look at the brand new Sugo-Fest, the new Super Sugo-Fest. We have the 15% chance for every individual character to be red when you pull on this Sugo-Fest. So it means that on average, you should be getting at least 1 to 2 legends per multi, as I said. On average, you'll have multis where you pull none, you'll have multis where you pull like 5. It happens, right? Anything can happen on a big Sugo-Fest such as this. So we're going to be breaking down each individual part and kind of having a look and seeing, are any of these parts actually worth it? We're going to go ahead and break this down. There is some things that we do need to talk about briefly before we have a look at each individual part. And it comes down to the way that they've structured this event in terms of part 1. So you mentioned here, like, so look at the top of this paragraph. It says, in this Super Sugo-Fest, part 1 includes all Super Sugo-Fest only characters and all Sugo-Fest exclusive characters from standard Sugo-Fests until September 27th. So it means that anything that has debuted after September 27, 1900 PST will not be in this Sugo-Fest. I don't have the exact dates on me in terms of which characters are available, which ones are not available. We can actually pull up real quick in terms of what you should be expecting here. So on the database, if we go to back a little bit more, I think it's from Galaxy Impact Garb. I'm pretty sure he will not be featured on the banner. So if that's the case, Prince Groose, Kujaku, and Hibari will not be available to be pulled either. Now, Roger Rayleigh Gaban, I can't remember. I think if are they anniversary exclusive? Was that like the half Annie? I'm pretty sure they won't be available. They won't be available. But basically, anything you see from here on out will not be on the banner. Uta will not be available. Odin not available. Carrot, Dogstorm, and all that not going to be available. Shaka, obviously, Kizuna Legend, Treasure Map Legend, Rumble Legend. Christmas Uta is not going to be available. So there are a little bit of characters that aren't going to be here, which is a bit of a shame, but just wanted to put it out there in case people were hoping to pull like certain characters that aren't going to be featured on the banner. Just wanted to make sure that that was listed there. So let's go ahead and have a look at the structure. So shout out to my man Captain Pappy for putting this little infographic together. We're going to have a look at this Sugo-Fest, right? So part 1, as we said, a lot of characters are available, but there are some that aren't available, but a predominant amount of them are going to be here. So we have a look at part 1 on the left hand side. These are the rate boosted characters on part 1. So even though every other legend is available, these are the characters that have a slightly higher chance to be pulled. So you've got a pretty good array of characters, obviously all the new ones. You have Oiran Yamato, which is obviously very good for the 6+ of the waifus, even though the waifus are basically not really accessible at all. Sai Gear 5 Luffy, still one of the better legends in the game, is going to be pullable as well at a much higher chance. In terms of the other ones here, the notable ones, I guess, is kind of Lilith. She's pretty good. Not Roger Rayleigh Gaban, but just Rayleigh Gaban. Very good generic legend, but of course, all of these are like normal legends. You can pull these characters on normal tickets, so it's not that big of a deal. But in terms of notables, I'd say versus Blackbeard potentially is okay. Versus Whitebeard, like this unit's alright. Lilith is okay. Dofi, a little bit whatever. Rayleigh Gaban's pretty good though overall. This lore is still pretty solid, all things considered. If you get him at Super 10 and 5, very accessible unit, pretty good. And obviously Robin and Jinbei is a fantastic legend too. But the rest of these are pretty mid characters you're probably not going to use too much. Now, it says, what do you got here? The new Super Sugo-Fest characters, the Super Sugo-Fest exclusive. So all of these are going to be pullable right here at the bottom. These are all of the Super Sugo-Fest characters that can be pulled on part 1. It's just that they don't have like a higher chance to be pulled. Aside from the new characters, which will be a slightly higher chance. Oiran Yamato and also the Gear 5 Luffy. I'm pretty sure this Yamato isn't counted as a Super Sugo, but anyways, she's still pretty good either way. So all of these will be pullable, so yeah, you can get them, but it's just a, pretty low chance, all things considered. Let's actually go through the steps. Are the steps actually listed here? No, he hasn't actually listed the steps, so that's a little bit different. Let's go over back to the game to kind of break down how the step function works on part 1 of the Sugo-Fest. So part 1, you have here all of these steps right here at the bottom. 1, 7, 9, blah, blah, blah. You just get generic last wanted posters of rate boosted character. Nothing really special there. The 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 8th, 13th, 18th, 23rd, 28th is a guaranteed legend. So at a bare minimum, you'll get 1 additional legend with that multi at a 15% chance to get a red as well. So you should be getting, at least maybe 2 to 3 reds per multi on these specific steps, which is kind of neat. Moving on to 6, 15, 25. All wanted posters have a 50% chance to be red. This is probably one of the biggest ones you should be looking out for. I do think that even if you are planning to pull for a specific one of these characters, like let's say you really love Ace and Whitebeard and you're going to wait until their part appears where they're going to be a higher chance to be pulled, that's fine and all, but I do believe personally, I think everyone should be spending the gems to do at least 6 multis on part 1. Getting access to a step like this, like there's a lot of times where you'll do this and you'll get like 3 legends, which is like not that good. Like I've seen people get no legends on steps like this. You can get really shafted, but with every poster, 50% chance of being a red, you have such a high chance of just pulling something good out of this. It doesn't even have to be a Super Sugo-Fest exclusive, right? It can just be something that you haven't pulled before. You got a very good chance of pulling great stuff on these types of steps. So I would advise most people to go 6 multis on part 1 at a minimum, like to at least do that, and then after that point, that's where you can kind of pivot and change depending on what you pull within those first 6 multis. Like you might pull something really crazy from those first 6. In that same scenario, let's say you pull Ace and Whitebeard within the first 6 multis, and then if you have extra gems laying around, you can just wait and pull on the Luffy part, or you can wait and pull on Sabo's part. I think that's a really good way to go about it. Of course, not everyone is going to pull something new in the first 6 multis, but I think this gives you the best opportunity to pull something new in that time period there. Especially if you have a look at the steps. So the first one is just a rate boosted. The second, third, fourth, and fifth are all guaranteed legends at the end. And then the 6th one is 50% chance for every poster to be a legend. So I do feel like that's probably the best way to go. And you get that step again on 15 and 25. So pretty cool, right? Moving on, the 10th multi-pull will give you a rate-boosted Sugo rare character. So what this means is that on the 10th multi of part 1, when you do that pull, you are guaranteed to pull one of these 20 characters. So it's obviously the pull's pretty significant, but you are restricting that pull down significantly considering every other legend is pullable, right? But you are limiting it to just one of these units on your 10th pull, which is pretty cool overall. Moving on, we have the 20th pull, which is a Super Sugo-Fest only character guaranteed. So basically meaning, obviously, you are guaranteed to pull any one of these characters. So this pool is very big now. So the chances to pull something good out of it is pretty low. But the thing is that these characters are also Super Sugo-Fest exclusives. These characters are also rate boosted. So what it means is that these characters are actually a pretty high chance to be pulled on the 20th pull. But there's obviously a really good chance that you just pull one of these units down the bottom too. Now, obviously, everyone wants the new units, but there's still some fantastic characters in here that you should definitely look out for. And I guess also I should mention that Psy Gear 5 Luffy is also pullable on the 20th multi of part 1, so do keep that in mind. Pivoting back here now, the 30th pull, you are guaranteed to get one of the new Super Sugo-Fest characters. So the 30th pull is guaranteed to be the new Luffy, the new Sabo, or the new Ace and Whitebeard. So I think this is a really neat change. With all of the other Super Sugo-Fest beforehand, what they had done is that on part 1, if you go to the 30th pull of part 1, you don't even get one of the new units guaranteed. It's still like a chance to get one of the new units. But what they have done now is they say, no, if you go 30 pulls on part 1, you do at least get one of them. Which can be kind of good or bad thing. Like you could go all the way to your 30th pull, and let's say you've pulled only Sabo. You could get to your 30th pull and you pull another Sabo, which could kind of suck, but I don't know, like, it's cool that they're doing it either way, because some people go to 30 and they still don't get any of them, which I think is just awful. If you're doing 30 pulls on part 1, you should at least walk away with one of these units, right? So they're doing that now, which is good. So let's go ahead and have a look at part 2. So part 2, moving forward, this part of the Sugo-Fest is where Sabo and Ace and Whitebeard are not pullable. They're not pullable. You can only pull Luffy of the new units on part 2. But you have a much more restricted pull. So before, when we looked at part 1, every legend was pullable. However, on part 2, 3, and 4, only these characters are pullable on their part, which means that it's a much higher chance to pull the units that you want to get. So if we have a look at the notables from part 2, you've got Luffy, which obviously amazing. You've got Blackbeard versus Law, and I think versus Blackbeard is one of the best legends in the game. You've got 10th Anniversary Ace, again, one of the best legends in the game. Zoro and Sanji, arguably the best legend in the game. Law and Kid, mid. Kid and Yamato, it's Kid and Yamato. Luffy and Yamato, mid. Momo, this unit's okay, has some uses for sure. Burgess is okay, Jack's okay, I think Jack's not too bad. Quick Momonosuke is a nice utility unit. Sai Utsu's pretty good. Dogstorm, I guess, is kind of useful, really good in other TMs. Marco EXP Captain, I guess. Halloween Ace, great support, pretty good unit. Carrot's really good, of course. and that's kind of it. The rest are pretty mid. But obviously, the top end of part 2 is quite incredible. Luffy, Blackbeard, Ace, Zoro, Sanji, like that's crazy. If you're missing these units, part 2 might be the way to go. I did say, of course, on part 1, you probably should still do 6 multis on part 1 because the chance to get something new in that is pretty high. But this is quite cracked, right? In terms of the step-ups on part 2, they're a little bit different, so you do have to be quite noteworthy of what's going on. So you've got a lot of steps that are either a rate boost or a legend character, so pretty bad overall, and that's a lot of steps. 2, 3, 13, 16 is a guaranteed legend. 5, 8, 25, limited pool Sugo rare character. So if we have a look at what the limited pool Sugo rare is, and what's that again? That is 5, 8, and 25. So on the 5th, the 8th, the 25th, you're guaranteed to get one of these 15 characters on part 2. And we move back to the game. We have 10 and 20, a super limited character. So on your 10th and 20th pull, you're guaranteed to get one of these 8 characters. So you got some pretty good stuff there. Luffy, Blackbeard, Zoro, Sanji, Ace, like already, like half of that is already top tier, like top 5 worthy characters pretty much within like just the super limited step. Like this is a crazy step right here, but they do offset it by putting Burgess, Moria, Perona, Sanji, and Momo. So you feel pretty bad if you pull one of those units, but any other of those other Super Sugo-Fest characters, phenomenal pickups. Part 2 looks really, really good just at face value, right? So it looks really good overall. And then if you go to the 30th pool, you're guaranteed to get the Luffy on part 2. So if we take those steps in mind with part 3, let's have a look at the top end for this one. We have Sabo on part 3 this time. You've got Kid and Shanks, which is still very good. You've got the 10th anniversary Luffy. You have the dual Yamato. You also have Magma Kaido. Okay, that's pretty good. And you've also got the Sanji Rush unit, which is another good pickup too. I completely forgot about this Kuzan character. I don't have this Kuzan yet, actually. I kind of want this guy, but he's not that good, unfortunately. But either way, you've got the Nami, not that good. Lauren Beppo, kind of an underrated unit. This Sai Hancock is actually not too bad. This guy, this Int Queen, actually a really good character. Robin Koala, one of the best normal legends that has dropped over the past couple of years. Absolutely phenomenal character. Beckman and Lucky Roo, one of my favorites. Hiyori, phenomenal sub on a lot of different teams. This Reiju has a god tier support. Do not sleep on this character. Pudding has some uses for sure. V2 Dofi doesn't really see much play these days. V1 Rayleigh's still a great unit too with his 6+. So yeah, you've got that. You've got the limited step, which as we said, the limited step is 5, 8, and 25. You're guaranteed to get one of these 15. And then the super limit, which is your 10th and 20th pool, you are guaranteed to get one of these 8 characters on part 3. So you've got Sabo, Shanks, Kid, Luffy. Yeah, this one does not feel as good as part 2 in terms of the value you're getting here. The characters on part 2 just seemed way overtuned compared to what you have on this part. You've got some good ones though, right? You've got like 10th anniversary Luffy, obviously very good to have. You've got the Shanks and the Kid. Kid doesn't see that much play. Shanks is going to be a really good unit in Super Boss for high damage content, so you do love to have a character such as that. Dual Yamato with max investments is one of the hardest hitting units in the game, so you can't sleep on that either. And obviously the new Sabo. In terms of the other characters generically, like Nami, not that good. Kuzan, not that good. Lord Beppo is good, but it's a generic character. Like these other characters you can just pull with normal tickets from any other event, so you do have to keep that in mind, as well as the Boa Hancock. So let's move on to part number 4 now. This one is featuring Ace and Whitebeard as the only new pullable legend for this part. Now, in terms of the other units here, you've got Luffy vs. Kaido, which is great. Shanks, great. Roger and Odin, I think a lot of like newer players will see this character as like, oh my god, it's Roger and Odin, this character's so cool. But like, no, this character sucks. This character is not that good. You've got the double stacking conditional Bruce Big Mom, who's still pretty useful and very good in Pirate Rumble, so keep that in mind. You've got Zoro, who doesn't see much play these days, but has a really cool kit. This is a really good character. The Dorian Broggy is a fantastic unit. Kid Killer, underrated. This Egghead Bonnie, also very underrated, I think is very good. The Sai Momo is probably the best EXP captain in the game. Very, very good unit. Alba's kind of cool. Ulti has a good support. This Tandem Big Mom is okay, I guess. Cat Viper has his uses. Yeah, Quick Kaido with a 6+ is okay. Sobermask doesn't have a 6+ yet, and I do think with a 6+, this guy's going to be pretty cracked, but as of right now, not that good. So we're going to move on to the, what is it, the 10th or the, no, it is the 5, 8, or 25 multis. 8, 5, 8, 25, you're guaranteed to get one of these 15, which is, it's okay. And if you have a look at the super limit, which is the 10th or the 20th pull, you're guaranteed to get one of these. So you've got like this unit you obviously want, this character's great, this character's great, but then you got this, which kind of brings it down. He's a bit of a stinker. And then in terms of the generic characters, you got Robin, you got Dory Broggy, Bonnie, and then Kid Killer. Yeah, I mean, when I look at this, like, Part 2 just clears, man. Part 2's value is so high with just all of these really powerful characters overall. I do definitely think Part 2 is the best overall. Like, if you could only pull on one part, I think you do the 6 on Part 1, and then if you end up pulling Luffy within the first 6 multis of Part 1, and then it's really up to you and what you're missing. Like, I would say look at these super limited steps, see which of these characters that you do not have, and which ones you really, really want, and go for that. I feel like if you're really trying to make Gear 5 Luffy work, I think you can definitely do it with having Ace and Whitebeard is going to be a better character to have on your account, because you can make do without having Sabo, because you can use Sabo as a friend captain. So I feel like if you pull Luffy within the first 6 multis, it means you don't really want to pull on Part 2, unless if you want the other characters, like if you want Blackbeard, if you want Ace, if you want Zoro Sanji, then go for it. But if you want just the new units, and you have Luffy, you go for Ace and Whitebeard, and then you try and get them, of course, because the other characters on here are also very good. And I feel like Part 3, I think, might have the least value overall. I don't know, it's tough. It's tough. It really is based on what you have on your account, obviously. I think do your 6 multis Part 1, and then if you didn't get Luffy, you go for Luffy on Part 2, because Part 2 is cracked in terms of what's available, and that's just my opinion. You don't have to take, you know, my word for it. I'm just giving you my opinion in terms of the best looking characters on each of these parts. But that is going to wrap it up for me. I really hope that this helped you out in terms of determining where you want to pull on this Sugo-Fest. Hopefully you did enjoy the video though. If you did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And of course, we will be live streaming when the Sugo-Fest goes live tonight. We're going to be doing a bunch of pulls on Part 1. Hopefully we can get lucky. We'll see what happens. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.